Hello and welcome to the Shadowfeld. I'm excited to bring you a new campaign that I'm participating in as a player. It is run by my friend Kirsty, who is an amazing DM, and she is the person who got me into DMing online. From what I understand, it's a little bit of an older module mixed with some homebrew, and the story is called The Lost City. It takes place in the desert Anarok, and the premise is, you guessed it, well, we'll be finding the lost city. We play every Saturday at 11 a.m. EST, and I'll be streaming the first few pre recorded episodes this week. Then we'll move to the live episodes on Saturdays. So I hope you join us in this fantastic tale. And without further ado, I bring to you The Lost City.
Um, all right, so you guys have been reached out to by a dwarven historian by the name of Stogak Goldheart, or at least are going to be traveling with Stogak. He is um, sort of heading off on a grand adventure to find a city that he was long lost, the city of, and I still haven't decided how to actually say this, Sinade, Synodicia? 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 I'll go with Synodicia. Synodicia
Indecisive. Okay.
and its people. The Synodicia was lost a very long time ago. Um, and think of it like an ancient Egyptian city that scholars know about. They know it existed. They found writings of it, but no one's exactly sure where it is. But it was at one point the most important city and the most important realm, and then the most important city within that realm in the region. And so, people would really like to find it. It would be a huge gain for history and for historians. And then on top of that, because it was such a wealthy city, if it still exists intact in any way, chances are there are all kinds of treasures um, to be found among the ruins of the city. So not only are historians interested in this place, but also um, people who are in it for the cash, the anti Indiana Jones types.
Hmm.
Um, the city itself uh, is believed to be in part within the great desert of Anarok. Anarach. Anarok. I don't D&D names, man.
On a rock.
Anarok.
Sounds
Yeah,
reasonable.
we'll
Yeah.
we'll go with that. And much worse, it lies in a part of Anarok known as the Sword, and these are all on in the Forgotten Realms. These are all on the kind of, I guess, to the east of the Sword Coast, where a lot of the like current D&D modules take place.
Oh right. Yeah.
Um,
The inland, massive inland section.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's, I don't know if it's a region any of you guys have played in before, but it is sort of within the world. So places like Waterdeep, Baldur's Gate, and all that kind of stuff still exists. We're
Hmm.
just a little bit to the east of them. Um, the Sword is a region that is like what you think of as a kid when you think of desert, massive sand dunes,
Hmm.
and that's about it. Maybe the odd oasis here and there, but it is a just an absolute sandy wasteland. Um, there is not a lot there. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's useful.
And you had seen that map before, and it's like, oh yeah, this is so useful.
Yeah, that's a good one actually. Um, so traveling through the sword is very dangerous. It's easy to get lost. It's easy to get turned around. Um, it's easy to run out of food and water. And then any kind of wind or storm event, and you're talking about a sandstorm, and that's difficult to navigate. Um, and it's just difficult to travel. It's hard walking through sand. I mean, we've all walked on beaches. It's not
Mm.
easy. Um, So it would be long, hard, arduous days in a lot of heat, and really cold nights as the temperature drops and there's no buffering of the sand to kind of help retain the heat on the on the land. So it is a very, very difficult place to live, and there's not a lot of people who live here. Um, there are some small sort of settlements around the edges of the sword or in sort of oasis type regions. Um, and they are. Have you guys ever seen the movie Casablanca?
Yep.
Heard of it?
Not seen it, but kind of know of it.
So, small kind of lawless towns where more people are passing through than are living in. And the people who are passing through are usually not there for super legal reasons. So there's a fair bit of trade that comes through, but a lot of the trade is illegal trade. You know, if you have the legal stuff, you're probably going to go somewhere a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to travel in. Um, and so a lot of the people that you would have encountered while in this region would have probably been pretty shifty. There are some locals. There is a nomadic tribe that lives in the region, and this tribe is um, two things: very hospitable. They have a rule: they never turn down anyone who's in need of food or shelter or water, and that's sort of something that's very common with desert peoples, right? Because it's so dangerous in the desert. If you find someone who's in need of aid, you give it. So
Yeah.
these people never turn down. If you need a place to stay, and they come upon you, they never turn you away. That being said, outside of their hospitality, they are very difficult people to get to know. They are a very close knit group. They are a very closed group, and they are not super interested in interacting with outsiders. And there is some, because of the nature of the type of people that are attracted to this region, there have been many instances of hospitality been taken advantage of, and retaliation has been swift and deadly. So that's something to keep in mind when dealing with the locals, and you guys would have heard, and your characters would sort of know this to varying extents, and I'll kind of let you guys decide, um, how your characters, how much of that your characters know. But I think these are reasonable things that everyone would know, kind of going into the region if you've been there for more than a day, kind of idea, or if you've done any research before you arrive. I think that's all we need to cover about the area. So let's start with, let's just kind of go down the line and do a discussion about, just tell us a little bit about your character and why your character is traveling um, with the group. This is sort of a caravan that is kind of going across the desert. So it won't just be you guys. It's also going to be some merchants and things that are going, and then the plan is that Stogak is going to sort of break off when he gets to the area where he thinks that the city is, and sort of strike out on his own. But obviously, traveling through the desert in groups is much safer. And you guys will be going with Stogak for your various reasons. So, who would like to kind of go first and explain your character and why you're traveling with us? Chang, you are the winner. Oh no, Seb, you are the winner. You talk first.
I was just gonna say mine's pretty simple. He's traveling with the group because he must have seen some kind of omen, or he thinks it's his path to be on. So it's that simple for his. Like he just must have got a sign from somewhere because he's a little religious.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Okay, and do you want to, just for the sake of the rest of the group, do you want to sort of tell us a little bit about your character in terms of, class and race and what he looks like?
He is a sorcerer. I'm like, I'm trying to remember
Trying to remember what you built a few weeks ago. Yeah.
He has. Trying to look at his picture where I can't find it. There we go. He has like an olive brown skin. He has black long dreads. He wears just leather armor. His eyes they're very blue to the point where they're almost white, and they kind of just have this slight. If you stare at him long enough, you'll notice that there's a slight like pulse of whiteness in his eyes that kind of gets a little brighter and then dims down every now and then. So he's definitely has some kind of arcane magic about him.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Did you give him a name, or are you sticking with your own?
Oh.
Or is that to be determined?
Yeah, to be determined. I guess because I haven't really gotten that yet. Unless
I
someone.
love that we're all equally prepared for this question.
The name hasn't. Yeah, it hasn't come to me yet. I'm trying to. Yeah, when someone asks him, I'll come up with one on the spot.
Random name generator.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I mean, yeah, he's pretty quiet for the he's pretty quiet for the most part because he seems like he's always in deep contemplation of thinking about something. But he does speak up if he needs to. Yeah.
Awesome.
I have a name for you. It's kind of long though.
Oh no, I don't. Your names are. No,
I recognize it.
I'll pass.
Man, every time Chan comes up with a name, I'm like, how do I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, who would like to go next?
I'm happy to go next if you
Okay.
want.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be playing Lenara Vess. She a good way of like thinking about her as an archetype. Think Evie from the Mummy film series, which is one of my
Awesome.
absolute favorite of all
I
time.
just rewatched that.
But
Oh, yeah.
like first book where she's kind of oblivious, extremely smart, doesn't know much about the world outside of a library, and like very curious. She's with the group because when she was really, really little, the storybook that her parents used to read her before she went to bed every night told like ridiculous, probably very overblown tales about the lost city, and she always wanted to go there. And then when she was a little older, she found out, yes, it's a real place, and she's been trying to get there ever since. And as soon as the Strogak was like putting together a group, she kept trying to like insinuate herself in the group, kind of, oh, you know, I know someone who could help you. Kind of hoping that he would get the hint that, yeah, it's me, I can do this, me, please, me.
Awesome.
She is a Shatakai, so a very pale shadow elf. She kind of at some points you look at her and she kind of looks like she's actually dead, but then she blinks and it's like, oh wait, no, she's not dead. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, goes with the complete lack of tan of never going outside. Works in a library, lives in a library.
I like it. Awesome. Okay. Who's next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
So I will be playing Willem Brennick. He's from like, just when he's speaking, just imagine a German or Scandinavian accent. But I can't do that, so.
Just do a Swedish Chef.
Yeah, and then give us subtitles. That'll be fine.
Blonde hair, pale skin, green eyes. I guess average size for the D&D world, 5'8".
Is he human?
Human, yes.
Okay.
The reason he's coming with the expedition is his family is helping to fund it, but he's gonna try and screw them over because he doesn't like his parents.
Okay.
So any profit they would have get, he's going to try to take.
Awesome. Okay.
And I'm playing a rogue.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't reference. I'm playing a warlock.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gonna be fun.
I have a question. Did your parents? I'm sorry, I'm looking through your backgrounds. I don't, like I said, I'm not. I'm still trying to remember what we talked about. Are your parents? Did they send you to kind of like oversee, or did you choose to come along?
Hadn't thought about that. I would choose to come along as a representative of them.
Okay. And then you're just gonna.
Yeah, to
start
kind of
going along.
oversee, like, and just not supervise, but like just make sure they're not getting screwed, even though I'm screwing them over.
Awesome.
Not getting screwed by anyone but you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
There we go. That's the picture I wanted.
How are you? Oh, maybe we'll get into that in a minute. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Chang, you're up.
My character is his named Benny. He wears a fez.
See, you give me that name that I can't pronounce, and then you call yourself Benny. You always do
Nah.
this to me.
I was just making a mummy reference.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I caught the reference. I was happy.
I didn't.
No, he's a monk. His name, the proper way to pronounce it is Wei Jiansao, but everyone just calls him Wei because he hasn't really met many people that's not from Karator that can pronounce his name properly, so everyone just calls him Wei. And Wei is his last name, which is pretty
course,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah,
Of course. The Chinese. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, he's a fairly tall human, because I'm pretty tall and I like to self-insert as much as I can.
I'm the
he-
opposite. I'm super short, and I refuse to play a short character. I'm like, screw that.
Yeah. If anybody's seen the picture that I put up, think of him looking like that with like a high ponytail, jet black hair, high ponytail, a little bit of a little goatee going on, slightly messy looking, without the armor that character has on, but he has mostly just sort of like lightish blue.
Is that from Romance of the Three Kingdoms by any chance?
Yes, it's it's pulled from Total War Three Kingdoms, one of the characters.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and he's wearing fairly plainish light blue and white, not really robes, but that's sort of clothing, just plain linens. Reason why? Yeah, he's been pretty jovial, very smiley, very easygoing, casual, drinking from a little flask. Daddy's. He also calls Daddy Special Juice,
Yeah.
which is essentially
Oh
like
no.
a very it's a strong. It's like a vodka, essentially. The reason why he's here, he met up with Strogark. He was venturing around and he sort of met up with Strogark and met the rest of you guys. And for some reason, all my windows are. Hold on. Yeah, he's on the caravan. He's right now at the moment. He's also looking for Senedicia, the city,
The Lost City.
the lost city. But first, he's trying to link up with an old friend from his monastery, from his temple. That's supposed to sort of meet him and give him the lowdown on what's going on. Name's Farad. Well, rather, his friend's name is Farad.
Mm-hmm.
We'll meet him soon, hopefully. Right, Kirsty? I'm gonna
Yes.
reload, and that's it for me.
We'll totally meet him soon. Nothing is gonna go wrong on your journey. It's gonna be fine.
That's it.
Oh, I didn't describe what he's wearing. It's
Yeah.
like leather armor with a cloak because he's an idiot, and it's all dark clothing because he doesn't know anything about the desert. He just wants
Awesome.
to steal.
I like it.
Feel bad for anybody who's wearing leather.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's an idiot.
That's gonna be cool.
Lessons will be learned.
Mm.
Oh, that's cool picture. Which one do you want as your token? Do you want that one or the one on your character sheet?
I'm happy with the character sheet one.
Okay.
Actually, no, that one, please. And could I also have a raven token as well as my familiar?
Yes.
Thank you.
If you want a special picture, send it to me, and I will make you a special token. Otherwise, you will get the standard fare.
Let me have a look so I can find raven. Images.
One thing we didn't go over in this campaign in our little rules thing, I will be employing some. You'll notice that there's a factions thing on your character sheet. For at least the first part of the campaign, I'm not sure how far into the campaign it will continue to go, but there will be you will encounter different groups. And I will be monitoring your relationship with said groups. That's why you have that factions section. So just to let you know, we're kind of employing that rule system. Cool picture. I like it. Okay.
His name is Quoth.
Quoth
Yeah.
the Raven Nevermore.
Quoth the Raven Nevermore. Yep.
Okay, so my next question for you all is how long have each of you been in this part of the world, and how much experience do each of you have in this part of the world? So it sounds like for a lot of you, in fact it sounds like for everybody here, well maybe with the exception of Wei, you guys have sort of come here specifically to travel with Strogak, like to meet up with the caravan and to go search for the lost city. So I guess my question is like, have you been to this part of the world before? And how long have you been here since arriving this time?
I'd say Lunara's been here about 4 years. Like, obviously, as soon as she was old enough, she set out on a quest to try and find the city, not knowing anything about anything. Got herself a job in a library here and has been trying to do the thing since. She's not seen much outside this city, because, I mean, why would you want to? That sounds terrifying.
Okay, so you would be familiar with local customs then, and some of the local groups, and some of the history of the area, which is awesome. Okay, what about Seb? How long has Seb? How long has your character been here? Is it something that has
So
he just get a sign and arrive, or
I don't really understand. I don't know all the history of Anarok. So are there like nomads out there
yes.
in the deserts? So I think his mother would have been one of those. So he was born in Anarok, in the desert somewhere.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
With with nomads. So
okay, that's actually pretty cool. So if you encounter some of these nomad tribes, would you have spent some time with them as a child then?
No, because I guess they would have to have, because they would have probably died if they were on their own.
Well, it's possible that, like, I mean, if your father's not a nomad and the mother sort of gave up that lifestyle, maybe you grew up in like one of the outskirts, like the cities on the outskirts, or you could have grown up with the nomad tribes. Either way, your mom, I'm sure, would have taught you some of the culture.
Yeah, he would have grown up with, I think, a nomad tribe. Yep.
Okay.
So I guess he would know some of the culture in the area,
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And also, that I'm going to say, because you are part of the nomad tribes, you would have a lot of knowledge of like just how to survive out here.
Okay.
So we'll probably be giving you some advantages on survival checks and that kind of thing, as well as dealing with the actual desert itself, as the nomads are one of the few groups that can actually survive in this very, very difficult terrain. Who's next? Willem.
He's been here about a week. Already regretting his choice of outfit and has no idea what he's doing, but he's, as much as he's an idiot, he's just inexperienced because he grew up with like winter and like forests and stuff, so he's way out of his element, but he might catch on eventually.
Awesome. I love that we have the full sort of spectrum of survival chances out here.
Yeah.
Just
All right. That who Nick? Oh, we already talked about you.
Yep.
We're just Wei.
Well, how long has Wei been there? I mean, well, in the backstory, he traveled all the way from Snowflake Mountains, which is in the Tepia region, which is even below. This is further south than Baldur's Gate, so I mean, it took a long time to get up here.
It was a long way.
It begins. It begins.
Yeah, it would have been a long journey. So I don't think he would have been here He probably might have just like linked up with Strugard and the rest of the group, like 1-2 days ago, maybe.
Okay.
If that's allowed, or if that's
Yeah.
okay.
Of course it is.
Sort of just newly introduced to the caravan.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So you're also fairly new to surviving in a desert environment, although if you've been traveling in it a little bit already, you might have a little bit more of a heads up or an idea of what's expected than Willem.
Yeah, well, he was born and raised in Baldur's Gate, so he's used to the more southern weather.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I don't know why, but when you started talking, then as soon as you got to the but, I half expected you to say like he was born and raised in Baltimore, and then my brain clicked back into no Baldur's Gate. We're in a fantasy world. What are you talking about?
He could be from Baltimore, he just
Yeah.
it's a long journey to get to here, though.
It is. Yeah, that's a long ass journey.
Okay.
The fly economy and everything. Terrible.
Oh, wow! I feel sorry for you.
Sorry, I just need to find my notes here, and they are hiding. You know, I'm one of these people, I make tons of notes, but I don't make them all in the same place. I like jot them down in areas as needed, and so I end up with just like shit everywhere.
Solution I found for that, because I do exactly the same thing, is I have a OneNote document open, and then like they have to be in one place because it's all centralized.
That's, you know, I've heard so many DMs use OneNote, and I started working with it once, and I didn't love it, but I think I didn't give it a fair chance. Maybe I should go back and.
It's well worth it in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I have like 10 windows open right now, no more to lie. And like it's just not necessary. And I've only got one computer to monitor as well. I need to get another computer monitor.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely
I
do
need
that.
to get OneNote. So you guys are in a town by the name of Bralazar.
Bralazar.
That is the.
Oh, okay. That is not how I spelt it, but good.
So that's the sort of. I've lost my other note now here.
Oh, we got a note. Oh, Nick's gonna be our note taker. Wonderful.
I've got my own OneNote thing open, so I can I can have have notes we can refer to.
Awesome, that's fantastic. If anyone wants, by the way, if anyone wants a handout in the game for anything, do let me know, and I will add as needed. I'm always happy to provide handouts and stuff. Okay, so Bralazar is like I said, it's sort of this town. It's got maybe 500 permanent residents, and then maybe about 1,000 people that are there at any time that are sort of traveling through the region. It is the last outpost before heading off into the sword, the really dangerous, desolate part of the desert. And there are lots of caravans that come through here. The caravans are predominantly pulled by camels. You don't see a whole heap of horses here. There are some, but one thing that you would have noticed is that horse prices are through the roof here. Camels are a much more common way of traveling and a much more sensible way of traveling. The city itself is fairly poor, especially when you consider the amount and quality of goods that are coming through the region. But again, a lot of it is stolen. So prices for things, you're not going to get great prices for things. Everything's pricing system is just very it's very different here from what you would see in like Baldur's Gate, for example. Gold is not worth so much, but like a pack of cigarettes, on the other hand, is probably worth a fairly significant amount in comparison. So you, especially those of you who have recently arrived, you probably have to reset a little bit the prices in your mind of what you expect to pay for things. Necessities are expensive, and things that are not necessities are very expensive. It is, like I said, there's lots of crime here. There's lots of underhanded dealings. There's not much of a guard or a militia here. People tend to sort of just look after themselves, and the small city guard population that is here is extremely corrupt. If you get yourselves in any kind of trouble, you can probably bribe your way out with some of aforementioned cigarettes fairly easily. It's just this little corrupted town that is necessary because it is such an important waypoint through the desert. Lots of people go into the desert hoping to seek out things that they have heard are in there, and then lots of people don't come back. The most common is to travel, like I said, in a caravan system where you're traveling with a group of other people, which makes you safe. There are monsters in the desert. There are creatures and things that live in the sands, and it is quite dangerous just because of the nature of the terrain. And so usually it is fairly large groups that travel together, and then people break off if needed. But most people are just going through. They're going through to get to the next point where they can then disseminate with their caravans and continue on. So whether you've been staying here for a long time or a short time, you're probably not staying somewhere great. There are sort of like hotels or inns, I guess, but there's not a lot of like long-term renting stays. So like Lunara, you probably have a sort of an apartment or a home that you have purchased. There's not a lot for rent here. So you might want to just take note of that for if you ever manage to return, if your character doesn't die along the way. And it's probably a pretty shitty place. There's not a lot, again, because the weather doesn't change too much here. There's not a lot in terms of insulation. So, you're just talking like sort of bare walls and that's about it. It gets very hot, it gets very cold at night, and you just kind of live with it. There's not a massive library here. There's not a anything, any of your fancy books and the things you would need to study. You would probably have to send for some of it. And through like a library system, it would probably come in one of the caravans. Or via magical means, sort of inspecting something via some kind of like sending spell with a like a minor illusion attachment or something. So there's probably some kind of magical library loaning system in place because it's
Some kind of
these are all
magical
kind of-
email.
Yeah, exactly. But there is a lot of there is a small place here that contains a lot of tablets and papyrus scrolls and that kind of thing that would probably be considered very, very valuable elsewhere in the world, but here they're just kind of like garbage, and they're just sort of like tossed into this old place. You probably had a grand old time, sort of, getting the library sorted out, and
Yeah,
as
I'd
as
like-
someone,
I'd like to imagine that Lunara got a job there as soon as she could. I have invented a name for the guy that runs actually owns the place.
Awesome.
Which is kind of he's in my background questions number 7.
Perfect. Yes. Okay, I love it. So yeah, so that's probably your sort of like living situation, and it's you've like you said you've been here for a while now, and the excitement has been building. You've been going over things again and again with all these new names. I'm like trying to remember everything at once. Strogak. You've been going over things. He's pretty convinced, and Lunara, I'll leave it up to you to decide how convinced you are that he's found the right spot. But he's found some indicators. They're not very clear. He's making there's a little bit of mental gymnastics that he's doing, but he's really convinced that he has found the place where the Lost City is, or at least the region that the Lost City is in, and he's really convinced that he's got a good shot of finding it, to the point that he has been putting together backers for a year now to try and raise the finances to get out there and look for it. And he's convinced some fairly important people that is doable. Enter Willem. So Willem, your family is helping finance this, and I'm assuming that your parents at least think that he's got a good chance of finding something, or they wouldn't have been backing him.
Well, they sort of they're upper middle class, but they've had good luck with other expeditions to other parts of the continent, so they're willing to take a chance on this.
Awesome. Okay. How convinced are you?
I don't know. Probably pretty convinced. Like, I was probably there when he made the pitch, or someone made the pitch.
Yeah, he would have done it himself.
Yeah, so like the evidence seems good, and it's worth me coming out to the desert.
Awesome. Yeah, and like I said, there's the potential of a very high return for this. If the Lost City can be found, it was known for being a very, very wealthy city. And so, the chances of there being some really precious items discovered here are very high. It was also a fairly advanced civilization, and so, you could expect potentially like some very high quality magic items and that kind of thing. There is a very high, if it's found, there's a lot of chance for some very, very high reward.
Cool.
Um,
And yeah, I've just been staying in like a crappy hotel.
okay, awesome. So, how am I saying this? Zohar?
I was just thinking if I should change it again, but
You can if you want.
I'm going through all these different names. Let's see. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So while you're still thinking about the name, you've sort of grown up here. I don't
Yeah.
think we talked about how you ended up traveling with the caravan. Were you hired as like a guard or a guide, pardon me, because you're familiar with the desert?
It would literally be just like the tiniest omen. Maybe he saw, it could have been like maybe a beetle crawled under the caravan's wagon or something. Like it would have to be something that simple.
What's your role with the caravan though? Like because I mean you could very easily be hired as a
Yeah, and
guide.
so he probably would have presented himself as like, oh, I could guide you just to get in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So you probably would have been traveling or been speaking with Storgak fairly extensively as he's trying to make plans. You know, how many rations do we need? How much water do we need? All that kind of stuff. He is he's very good at history. Planning a caravan. He's not so much. He's much more interested in carrying very heavy equipment that he will need to excavate things than he is about making sure that there's enough like food for the camels. So as you are sort of helping him plan, there might be a little bit of concern on your part, or I don't know, maybe you've sort of taken over that sort of area of things. I'll let you kind of decide. But he's very. It's not that he's not capable of it, it's just that he's much less interested in that aspect of things than he is in actually planning, like, what are we going to do when we get there, when we find it, what do we need, what equipment do we need, what do I need to have in place, who do I need to have there. He's not thinking so much about the actual journey.
Okay.
In terms of your people and the Lost City, there's stories about the Lost City in your traditions as well. But you've heard that the Lost City was cursed and should never be found.
Okay.
That's sort of the teachings of your people, is that going to the city is it's dangerous, it's deadly, people should not go there. And so but you've seen this omen, and we'll talk about what that was and what that meant to you, sort of in all the background stuff. But you maybe believe that it's time that the city was uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
That it is important that it is found now, and that things have changed. But you also know that your people would not agree with that. It is a sort of a not quite a taboo subject, but it's not something that people actively look for among your people.
Okay.
And are you currently living, I guess you would have been living in the city for a little while now, while you helped sort of plan the expedition with Strogak. So you would have also met Lunara. I imagine she would have been involved in that process as well, so you guys would be already familiar with one another. Lunar, you have probably met Willem or spoken to him via like either mail or sendings or whatever, as part of because you would have been involved in the planning if you're working with our dwarvish friend here.
Yeah,
so
I
you guys would have some
would have been helping
familiarity.
him research, so I would have had some involvement. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So we're getting some ties in here. Wei, how did you meet Rogak?
Probably as to entering Anarach, probably got a tip off somewhere that another foreigner is also looking for. Probably not like overtly saying ancient, the lost city or whatever, But they probably said, "Oh, he's looking for something along those lines." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And then probably started tracking him, just sort of going from place to place. Do you know where this guy is? And then eventually intercepted him along the road, or
Cool.
or possibly hired somebody who passed by. Like, oh yeah, they went that way. Yeah, you mind taking? Like, you mind? Sort of like hitchhiking.
Sort of like
Wow.
hitchhiking. Okay. Yeah. Storgak is he's a friendly fellow, and really interested in history and the Lost City in particular. And so, once he starts talking about that topic, there's no stopping it. He just sort of like lights up and starts going on about it, and just seems really excited and pleased, and is very personable, and is sort of talking about some of the dangers along the way, and that like maybe it would be nice if they could afford to hire someone who would come along as like some kind of guard, or just needing extra hands on the expedition so that they can, when they're starting to do the excavation, just needing people to help, like even even if you don't have any training, like if you want to come and just help us, like we're going to need to move some rocks around, and also, I can show you what you need to do, but we could just use the extra hands. So is it reasonable that you maybe would have been kind of hired by him to assist the expedition?
Oh yeah, sure. Wei's obviously it's hot, so his top is a little bit open, and he think Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
Awesome.
He's not gigantic, but he is fucking he's vascular.
Awesome. Um,
I'll sing songs with Strogak too. See, I know Dwarvish. I'm acquainted with Dwarven
awesome.
culture.
Very cool. Yeah, it's interesting because the the s- the Lost City is, or was, predominantly human. Um, and so it's a little bit odd that a dwarf has chosen, but he's just fascinated by the history of the people. Um, Again, think sort of like Egypt and ancient Egyptian civilization kind of thing. That's kind of the vibe of the lost city. Um, and so, lots of people are kind of fascinated by that. And he is certainly no exception, and has spent, his life dedicated to it. So I am going to, because you are studying Lunara, you
Mhm.
can add the ancient language of Syncadian um, to your languages.
Okay, ancient. Can you spell the Syncadian bit for me, please?
Yes, I can. It is
Hmm.
CYNIDICEAN.
You
Whoa.
should post that in the chat for me so I can copy it.
Yes. I know it's a brutal.
Thank you.
It's Synodician, I guess technically.
Synodician. Okay.
Synodician. Yeah.
Ancient.
Um,
Synodician.
Synod
Synodice nuts. Wait,
Synod
what?
Oh,
Synodician.
God.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
So yeah, you would. I think it only makes sense that, given your background, you would speak that language and
Mm.
know how to read and write it. And again, Synodician is written. It's a lot like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Mhm.
Um, so and mostly carved into stone and on papyrus and that type of thing. Um,
Awesome.
uh,
I get a language.
Willem would also get a language, and you would have the language of the nomadic people, which I don't have a name for, but you would speak. It's less a language and more sort of a dialect, but it's hard to understand their particular dialect unless you know it, because they are a little bit isolated. So you can also note that on your character sheet.
Willem?
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem, Nick. Yeah, Sorry,
Or
were
do
you
you
saying something?
mean Seb?
Oh, sorry, I meant Seb.
Okay, I was wondering. So
Yeah, I was sitting here. I'm like,
Sorry.
why would he know this?
I'm looking at the like again. I have like 40 pages open, and I'm looking at the wrong
Yeah,
name there.
no,
I
no, fair
apologize.
enough, fair enough. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so Seb, you would have that language.
what language was it called again? I'm sorry.
I don't have a name for it yet.
Oh, okay.
But
Nomadic.
yeah, nomadic. And like I said, it's just a dialect of
Okay.
of the language out here, but enough of a difference that um, it's important to know.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess maybe now's a really good time to take our break. And let's take 15 minutes, and that
Cool.
will give me chance to sort of get things set up, and we'll start kind of the campaign proper.
Awesome. And I finally found a name, Adriel. I'll stick with that one.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I'll stick with that one. Hey Nick, no worries. We're gonna take our break now.
Okay.
So we're gonna take 15, so we'll be back at half past, and I'm
Okay.
just gonna use the time to get us moved into the campaign proper.
Cool. Okay. I've posted the link to my notebook in the chat as well.
Cool, thank you.
That's one of the good things about OneNote. You can just share everything.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you
I'll
so
be back
much.
shortly then.
Okay.
1:30. Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. Oh, are we missing someone? Chang. Nope, we're not missing Chang.
Hey,
Hello.
I had to type something real quick.
Yeah, no worries. We're gonna make this work. So, we are, and I just realized I'm so underprepared. I'm sorry, I don't have a picture of the city for you guys right now, so we're gonna stay on the splash page for a little bit longer. But we are on the morning that you are embarking on the caravan. This is the day that has been long awaited by everyone, and I imagine there is a great deal of anticipation in the air. You would have had to get up very early. The plan for the caravan is to travel in 2 stages. So you'll travel sort of early morning through to kind of mid morning, then take a break or a rest for the kind of like hottest part of the day, and then in the late afternoon, kind of around dinner time, as things start to cool down, then you'll travel again. So it's a little bit of an unusual schedule, particularly for those of you who are used to kind of the more traditional caravans that are, maybe going down the roads of the Sword Coast. But for Adriel, look at me learning names. For Adriel, this is something that is quite common in this region, just because you'd be absolutely crazy to travel in the really hot part of the day, but you still want as much light as possible to travel by, and so this kind of thing has been done by your people for years. And so that is the plan. You are traveling with a couple of merchants. It's not a huge group that's setting out. There is you guys, which are all traveling, obviously with the expedition. So there's you guys, there's Strogak, and then there are 2 merchants that are traveling with you. The 2 merchants, one is a gnome. He is traveling alone, and his name is. Sorry, lost my notes. Here we go. Sinker Cobblepatch. He's your gnome companion. Cobblepatch, yes. He seems to be a gem merchant from what you have learned about him. He's quite friendly, he's quite chatty, and he says that he's done this route many times. He's an experienced caravaner, and he doesn't seem to be. He's pretty, lackadaisical, typical, traveler that's done this 100 times. He's still excited to be up and going, but he does this all the time, so it's not kind of a crazy high level of excitement. Oh, Adriel, can you please make me a perception check? First roll of the game, guys.
Yay!
It begins.
An 11. Okay.
Okay, better than average.
Average.
Yeah.
He looks to you like he knows what he's doing. He's got a decent amount of rations. You see that he's got extra water flasks, and he seems pretty. He seems like he's going to be a good travel companion in terms of survivability. Let's put it that way. Could I please have Willem make me a perception check?
Can do.
Awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Willem, you notice that his wares are fairly expensive. I mean, he's got a lot of gems, so he doesn't have a whole lot to pack. But you see him sort of like reshuffling some of them. He's got them in sort of like boxes that are packaged up, and he opens one of the boxes to sort of go through them and just make sure that everything is settled properly. He didn't seem to like the way that they were placed. He heard some rattling noises, and you see he's got like just that one box, there was a small fortune of gems in it. You see some very expensive looking diamonds and sapphires. They look, from the quick glance that you caught, they look very nicely cut and polished. And he's got a few of these boxes. So you might be traveling with someone who has a small fortune um, on his person.
Good to know. Good to know.
He is he's dressed fairly appropriately for the weather. He's chosen to wear sort of more of the sort of like flowing robe-ish type garments of the region, rather than wearing something that is more traditionally gnomish. And that is probably a sensible decision out here, just to keep the sun off. He wears a very large, broad hat, and he is traveling on camel, and he is. It's interesting to see a gnome on top of a camel. Let's put it that way. But he seems to know how to handle the beast, so that's a good thing. The other person that you guys are traveling with is a couple, and they are called Ayn, Ayn, and Oden. And they are sort of a youngish couple. They are probably like early 20s. They don't seem to be from the region. They have accents that probably Willem would recognize. Oh, and Wei, you're from. I think you guys would recognize the accents as being from like maybe the Baldur's Gate type region. They are super excited. They can't stop grinning. They've got all the things, and they are so over prepared for this journey. It's ridiculous. They've got like 14 flasks each, and they've got extra rations, and they've got them packed on 2 separate camels, so that if one camel gets lost, they've got another one. They're just really, really excited to be here, really well prepared, and they tell you they are on their honeymoon, and they've decided that this is an adventure travel for them. They have all of the things, they're dressed for it, but everything is new. Everything is brand spanking new. You don't get the impression these people have traveled much before. Let's get perception checks from the party. Okay, so everyone except Willem. Two rolls.
Yep.
There's something a little bit. There's just something a little bit off about their relationship. They're very like lovey-dovey when people are looking. And then when people aren't, there's a distance and a coldness to them that you guys are noticing. It's very subtle, but there's just something, I don't even know how much, just something that would kind of strike you as a little bit odd. Let's put it that way. It's not raising huge red flags, but it's just there's something about them that's just a little bit off. They're just a little bit, there's something going on there. Let's put it that way. and of course, you're traveling with the dwarf, um, Stogak. Strogak, and Strogak is beyond excited. He is like a school child right now. He is like a school child on Christmas morning. He's been planning this expedition for a year. He spent his life researching this, and he's finally going to go out and find it. Like he can barely contain himself. And he's going over and he's checking everything. Oh, did we make sure, did we bring this? Okay, and we've got Lunara, you've got the tablets, you've got the one that I asked you to pack. Maybe we should bring the other one too. You know the one I mean, that mentions the oasis. That might come in handy. Do you think we should bring that one? Did you bring it with
I
you?
have them both already. Don't worry.
Okay, good. What about do we need some extra brushes? What if we find something and we need extra brushes? I should have brought extra brushes. What was I thinking? And he's kind of like, he's just, he's all over the place. We're very excited. And I guess at that point, it would make sense for our guide to he sort of turns to you and he says, well, I don't know that I have time to go get them. Do I have time to go and get some extra brushes, or do we need to leave right this instant?
Do we need to leave right this instant?
This is up to you.
No, you don't. I'm sorry. We must get going. And I wouldn't be too excited to get there.
Well, of course I'm excited to get there. We're going to find the lost city. This is what I've been dreaming for. Let's all right, we'll forego the extra brushes. We'll just have to be very careful. Lunara, make a note. Be careful.
Sure.
Lead on.
All right.
And you survey your group, and I'd like to just kind of go down the line and sort of discuss how each of you is feeling, how you're acting on this morning as you're setting out on your journey. So let's start with our guide, Adriel.
So yeah, he's I wouldn't say excited, but he feels the need, like he has to go. Not that he has to. I mean, how do I put this? He is excited to a sense, but he also knows, since he believes the place is cursed, that he's very cautious. So he doesn't hold the same excitement as Strogak does, but he is looking forward to get there. He sees it now that he has to maybe keep Strogak under control. Like his excitement, like he doesn't want him to get hurt or cursed. So, or any of the group, I would say. So he kind of feels like he has to protect them in that way at this point.
Awesome.
But yeah, so he's excited to a degree.
Okay, Lunara, I mean, he's probably been driving you absolutely nuts with all of his preparations and excitement.
Yeah, like she's excited for the trip herself, but yeah, trying to corral him and kind of keep him on one path and not having like 6 different ideas of, oh, I need this, oh, I need this, I need this, has been a bit of a nightmare. So she's just looking forward to getting started.
Awesome. Okay, and what about impressions of the other characters? Is there anything you want to contribute that way, or?
Sorry, what do you mean?
What do you mean by that?
Sorry, that wasn't very clear.
Elaborate.
You know, like you're seeing these other people. You know what? Never mind. Willem, how are you doing this morning?
I'm more looking at what everyone's bringing and going, crap. Yeah. But also, just more, more focused on the items that are being brought rather than the people. Like I believe I've met Lunara and probably Adriel, just as like the representative for my family.
Yeah.
But I am also looking at what I can get at.
Okay.
Given the opportunity.
Given the opportunity, eyeing up some of those stones. And what about Wei?
He likes to spend a lot of time meditating with the long sword he has attached to his back. Some days you can almost see it float in midair from his hands.
Oh shit.
Mm.
Almost, but he most of the time he's pretty jovial. He's usually sitting. Is Strogar the one sort of piloting, driving the horses or camels?
Well, that was going to be my next question. So there is one camel that Strogark has that has the goods attached. Um, the other three people are all just riding on camels. So it's kind of up to you guys if you think you would have a camel, if you would be riding on the cart, or if you would be walking.
Lunara would probably ride on the cart.
Okay.
Way would be in the cart. Sorry, did you say Strogar was on the cart as well, or his own camel?
Yes, he's on the cart. Yeah, probably driving it or.
How
I'll
mu-
probably try to calm his giddiness down, sing a song with him, a drinking
Okay.
song.
I guess Adriel will be, since he notices Strogak doesn't really know what he's doing, he would take the reins of the cart and
Probably a very
yeah,
good idea.
and and guide it, yeah, and drive it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, Willem would be in the cart as well.
We're all
Awesome.
in the cart.
Everyone's in the cart, so just sit on top of the boxes
Actually, I probably would have been given money for a camel.
and- yes, you probably would have. That makes sense.
You're a rich girl and you've gone too far.
Okay, so we have Willem on a camel.
How much would that cost?
I am not going to charge you for this as it is part of the fee of the expedition. It would have been paid for by the expedition or by your
yeah.
parents for the expedition.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, same thing with the rations that you guys are eating along the way. That's part of the expedition costs. So you don't need to worry about fees for that kind of stuff. Fees, not fees, but you know what I mean. Paying for it. Okay, that. Need to delete a couple of camels here. I thought more people would be riding, but no problem. And yeah, so you guys set off on your the first part of your journey, and it is you managed way to calm Rogark down. He is you know, as sort of the trip starts to go on, and like this is no small trip. This isn't just like a day out and a day back. Like you're anticipating traveling for 3 to 4 days before you get to the location where you're going to veer off from the rest of the caravan people, and then probably spending a week or more actually at the site. It's going to take some time to locate the city, and then once hopefully it's located, spend some time excavating and learning about it before starting the travel back. So you're anticipating being gone anywhere from probably a minimum of 3 weeks, which 10 days. So it's going to be a fairly long journey, and you're starting as the morning wears on, you're starting to settle in a little bit. The
As
song.
soon as,
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, as soon as we settle off, like most of you, when you've seen Lunara, like she's had the raven on her shoulder, but it's inanimate when it's on her shoulder. Like it hardly moves. You kind of would think that it's just like part of her clothing. As soon as she settles in on the cart, it kind of awakens and takes off, and it will be flying around us at a distance of about 100 feet around the group.
Okay, cool.
Just like doing scouting basically as we travel.
Keeping an eye on things. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome and useful. Okay, anyone else want to sort of declare anything that you're doing as you travel this first part of this day?
Well, Willem's definitely sweating, but
Yeah.
even then, he puts his hood up to keep the sun off his head once it comes up.
His leather hood.
Well, no, it's common clothes,
Okay.
including a hood.
Okay.
So it's more like a cloak kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he just puts that up just to keep the sun off his head.
Is the cart covered?
Good question. I will let you guys decide that. You tell me.
I'd kind of like it if it was, to be honest. I think if we're going through the desert, it would be wise for us to have a covered cart.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
that
like
makes a lot of
it
sense.
would be because of the sun. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you have a covered cart.
Yay.
As for Adriel, he would just be looking out for any kind of like trouble. Maybe there's a sandstorm coming, like looking out for dangers as he's riding the cart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because while we're riding, Lunara will be kind of reading a book, but like every now and then, as long as my raven's within 100 feet of me, she can just like view through its senses. So she's like every now and then just kind of dropping into its senses, seeing what's around, going back to a book, dropping into its senses, so on.
Cool. Is there any kind of tell when you're doing that? Like, is there something that the other players would notice as you sort of draw into your
You
little
probably
sight?
notice that she goes very still every now and then.
Sort of gets that 100-yard stare.
Yeah, sort of thing. Like if you look closely, it looks like she's looking through her book by a couple of miles, rather than actually reading it.
Cool.
We're gonna have a lot of mornings where we think Lenara's dead, isn't
We're gonna just,
Yeah,
well,
she does. She does look somewhat dead, I'm afraid.
I guess we have to bury her in the sand.
The raven looks at you very pointedly.
Okay. What about so we've got Lunara reading a book, looking through her familiar's
Ooh,
eyes.
that's not what I was expecting it to
Oh
be.
my lord!
Oh wow.
Would you word essay over there?
Yeah, sorry. That's just. I figured I'd just give you the
Yeah,
wording of
no,
my.
that's awesome. Thank
That's
you.
the whole reason I took this warlock class, because I love that sentinel raven.
That is actually really cool.
Oh, I have not seen this before.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
one
I'm
of
really
the
interested in
older.
plays.
It's one of the older Unearthed Arcana.
Cool.
Sadly, it never made it into a printed book, but I love this so much.
Yeah, interesting. Alrighty, so yeah, so we've got Lunara reading her book. She's looking through her raven's eyes every once in a while.
Mhm.
There's some concern she might be dead. We have Willem is sort of. So I imagine you're either near the front or the back of the cart. Willem is you're kind of keeping an eye out for things as you travel.
He'd probably be near the back, knowing that there's a guide. So he's
Okay.
just kind of like.
Oh, sorry,
looking-
it was Adriel that was keeping. I'm getting your characters confused. Oh no, it's begun. It's Adriel that's keeping an eye out because he's the
Yes.
guide,
Yes.
and Adriel will either be near the front or the back so that he can keep an eye on what's going on. Sorry.
Yeah, I would be in the front. Yeah.
Okay. So you've actually already taken over the reins from our overexcited dwarf.
Correct. Yeah.
So you're probably you've probably got a little bit of shade from the I imagine there's some kind of like cover that goes up a little bit just to kind of protect the driver of the cart as you are going, but you probably have the best view of the landscape as you are traveling. So Willem, you're sitting near the back. What are you doing while you travel?
Looking out to the sides. If anyone's paying attention, he'll occasionally grab this little stuffed snowy owl out of his satchel
Oh,
and just
Oh, he's got a stuffed animal.
yeah. It's like fits in the palm of your hand, but he'll just look at it and
Oh, the keychain thing then.
put it away. Yeah. But yeah, he's just mostly trying to keep an eye out, although his perception's been shit so far.
Oh wait, you had a camel. Are you riding it, or do you have it tied to the wagon and are riding in the wagon?
No, I'm riding it,
You're riding it. Okay, cool.
and it would probably be behind everyone.
Behind everyone. Okay. I'm not shifting tokens around. You're shifting tokens around. Awesome. So, how are you to travel with, Willem? You strike me like, is it super boring? Are you doing okay? Are you? I guess you're riding, so at least you've got something kind of active to do as you're.
Well, yeah, and that's why he's also occasionally fiddling with the. Well, that sounds weird. Um,
Fiddling
Just
with
look-
the owl.
yeah. But yeah, also again trying to figure out who's where and trying to figure out good opportunities to, I don't know, maybe swipe some shit.
Okay. Awesome. um. Way.
I was Strogar. Just trying to no, because he's all giddy. I'm trying to calm him down a little bit. Sing a few drinking songs.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's starting to sort of calm down a little bit. He's he's a pleasant companion, um, and it's pretty, you sing a few songs and it kind of like he like teaches you some old dwarf ones that he knows, and you teach him some of yours, and it's a nice time, and then things sort of like peter down a little bit as the day wears on, and you guys have your sort of first morning of travel. Nothing terribly exciting happens, but you do find yourselves right on the edge of the desert proper. And it is really imposing to look at. As far as you can see, it just stretches on and on and on, and it is nothing but sand and sky. And I don't know, for those of you who haven't traveled through here before, it's probably more than a little intimidating. It is, it's you can see how easily you could potentially get lost. There's nothing to landmark by. It shifts and changes. So even if you could find a landmark, it doesn't mean it's going to be there in an hour, much less in a day. And getting lost out there with no hope of food or water is quite frankly terrifying. And so there's sort of a moment of reality that hits you as you begin your travel. But before you really enter into the desert proper, you stop and you take your first rest. And as I said, you sort of rest in the middle, in the hottest part of the day. Um, it is summer, um, and the sun is beating down on you, and it probably honestly is a foolish time of year to travel. But this was the time when the money was available, and so this was the time the expedition is going. So it is also a little bit eye-opening about how hot it starts to get. And those of you who've spent some time in the region, you're probably a little bit more used to it. But even you are used to going into your homes. You've got things around normally that help mitigate this, but now you have a covered wagon that, as the sun beats down upon it, just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And honestly, it is not much better than being. In fact, it might even be worse than being just outside. Um, so some of you might choose to sort of lie under the wagon instead, where it's not quite so cloyingly hot, um, but it is very warm, and you are surprised at the amount of water that you consume, and you're beginning to think that married couple are maybe not so foolish after all for having 14 million waters on them at all given times. Um, the concerning thing about them, though, is they are going through their water quite quickly. Um, uh, Adriel, you would notice that they're not really rationing it, partly probably because they have so much. They're just they're drinking like crazy, and in the desert, that's not necessarily the best idea.
Yes. It would be wise to ration your water. Do not drink it all at once, I would tell them.
Oh yes, we know. I read all about it in my Guide to the Desert book. It's fine. I've got these ones here and these ones here. And I'm really thirsty right now, so I'm just gonna have a little sip. It'll be fine.
He just gives them a look like, okay, you were warned.
And they just kind of like, Yeah, you hear the husband, Odin, say, are you sure that that's a? Are you sure maybe you should be listening to him? No, it's fine, honey, it's fine. I got all the things. And he's like, well,
Hmm.
okay, well, I'm not gonna have my sip. Well, okay, well, I'll just maybe I'll have your sip because I'm really thirsty. Okay, honey, you have my sip.
It was totally arranged, the marriage.
Hmm. I think just for a little bit while we're resting, out of curiosity, Lunara will have Quoth kind of go and perch near them, just like within listening range,
Oh, interesting.
just to kind of see how they talk while they don't think anyone's near them.
Cool. Can you make me a stealth check, please, with the raven? Because they would have seen you with it, so they know it's your bird.
Okay, that's a dex. Let's see what that looks like. I'm just gonna make sure I can. Advantage toggle. Whisper toggle. There we go. So just making sure the sheet does it what it wants to do.
Yep.
Dexterity.
The joys of setting up your
Normal.
sheet for the first time, eh?
Dex. There we go. Please roll. 15.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, they don't seem to notice Quoth as Quoth kind of flies up behind them. And they don't say a whole lot to each other, which in and of itself is a little bit weird. Quoth notices that they're sitting, or you can sort of they're sitting a little ways apart, which, you know, it's very hot out, so that kind of makes sense. But at the same time, they've been very they've been a little handsy with each other throughout the morning, at least when people are looking. So it's a little bit odd to see this sort of like separation. And they don't talk a lot. And for a couple that is so excited to be out here, it's a little strange.
Yeah, suspicious. Okay. Yeah, gonna just keep Quoth around there while we're taking our rest.
Okay.
Lunara will be napping under the
Under the wagon.
the thing. Yeah. I've put my passive perception on my name there.
Oh, awesome.
I get a +3 to it if I have the burb on my shoulder. So that's the 16.
Cool. Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, if he's away from me, it's 13. Otherwise, it's 16.
Otherwise
and I
it's
put
16.
it on my sheet as an item that I can toggle on and off to give me that +3.
Handy. I like it. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Anything else anyone would like to do on there while we are resting?
Willem's taking off his armor.
Probably a
And then-
very good idea.
And then climbing underneath the camel for some shade.
Underneath the camel. Okay, you rest in the shadow of the camel.
Yep. And I will adjust my AC.
Okay. Yeah, Willem, it's relieving to get that very hot armor off.
Oh, not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, you get your deck still, right? So it's not terrible, and a good choice for the weather. Anybody else have anything they would like to declare?
I would just say to Strogak, Strogak, I understand your excitement, but you must be on the lookout for dangers. The city is cursed, you know.
Oh, that's just an old legend. That's what they always say. Whenever a civilization falls, it's always, oh, it was cursed. It's not. It wasn't actually a curse. I mean, there's many reasons what we were thinking actually happened, and he starts off, and you regret opening your mouth. Because he starts telling you about the history of the people, and his basic version that he tells you. And Lunara, this is something that you've heard before, and this is his theory about what has happened. His theory is that there was a drought in some of the nearby civilizations, which ended travel within the region. A lot of the water that was brought in from to to the kingdom was brought in through like aqueducts from nearby places because obviously desert. And so when the drought in the nearby nation, there was no water to bring into the city itself. Also, because the nearby places didn't have enough food, there was no food being traded with. So they had no means of growing food and no means of trading for food. And so very quickly, the city fell. At least that is his theory. And he goes on at great length talking about some of these ancient civilizations and what happened there and why these things happened. You know, he might be right.
And then I end his whole thing with, "Did you ever think that the drought might have been caused by a curse?"
He like rolls his eyes at you and he's like, well, at that point you could say anything's a curse, right? Our traveling, if one of us, if I stumble and fall, it might be a curse that I've fallen. It was a bit of bad luck, but it wasn't some magical mystical curse. It was just poor luck, poor weather, and that's it.
Just be wary. You could put yourself or us in danger.
Oh, have no fear. The only danger we're facing is that the danger of the desert itself, and that's what we've got you for. So you be wary, and I'll be excited.
Deal. I mean, yeah. I just kind of gave up, so I'm just like, deal.
Okay, and so with that, you guys are ready to travel on for the next part of the day. It starts off very hot as you're traveling, and you're kind of like, really, should we go already? Like, it's still really, really warm. Maybe we should wait a little bit better. But your guide knows better than that. If you wait for the weather to be perfect, you're never going to get anywhere. Adriel, you spend a little bit of time sort of convincing people to move on. Let's get going. And you don't quite have the routine down yet. You've not been traveling together for very long. So it takes a little bit of time for people to like repack themselves back up and get going. So you're a little bit later than you would like, but you start moving again. And you continue on into the desert proper. And it is miserable to travel in. It's difficult to travel with a cart over sand. The cart is heavy. There's a lot of equipment on it, and also a lot of people on it. So it's weighed down. There's a couple of times where you get stuck. Fortunately, you are prepared, and you've got some extra planks of wood that you can put under the wheels to help get it out of areas. You're on a little bit of a trail at this point. I don't know if trail is the right word. Caravan route at this point still. So there are, in particularly difficult areas, there have been sort of makeshift bridges and bits of wood and things put down to help make the travel a bit easier. Although you've got to look for them and you've got to look hard for them because it is, as I said, things shift here pretty darn quickly. So, Adriel, I would like you to please give us a survival check to see how well you guys travel this afternoon through the desert.
Nine.
Oh,
dear.
Oh, dear.
That's
Oh boy.
You're not off to a
I
great start.
swear I am from here.
I know where I'm going, guys. Really. I also love the fact that like our guide has a 0 in survival.
Yeah, I have no survival or perception, so I rely on faith.
We're all going to die.
It's not going so well for you today. So you, what happens for the first afternoon is one of the wheels gets really stuck in the sand. There is, you don't notice it, Adriel, but there is a loose patch of sand. You get slightly off the caravan trail, and you end up sort of in some of the softer sand off to the side, and the cart just, for those of you in it, the cart just lurches sideways, as one of the wheels just sort of like sinks into this sand, and everything sort of like shifts, and everything that wasn't tied down properly yet also goes slamming around the caravan. So I need everyone in the caravan to make me dexterity saving throws, please.
Oh boy.
Wait, no, let's check.
Yeah, I'm trying
How
to
do you
remember
say
how
it
to
again?
do this.
How do you do so
I
again?
get
Second,
Oh, I got
second
it.
column at the
It's
top,
hard.
underneath the proficiency bonus.
Only an
Well,
11.
That's worse. We'll take your first roll, and we'll just add. You've got a.
2?
We'll
Okay,
just add
so
2 to that, so we'll
15.
for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
13 for Adriel, and 18 for Lunera. All right. So Adriel, you take a little bit of damage as you, I guess you're in the front. So you actually end off sort of going off the bench and onto the sand beside it, and you bang your arm really hard, and you're gonna take.
This is where he dies.
I know, right?
I know,
Fall off,
one.
break my neck.
You
Oh
take
my.
20 points of damage.
Break my
3
neck.
points of damage.
Okay.
That's half your helmet.
Yeah, you take 3 points of damage as you as the caravan lurches sideways, and you fall off. Everyone else, those of you who are inside it proper, you're able to sort of like grab a hold of things and sort of protect your head as boxes go flying. And basically the whole caravan comes to a halt, and you find yourselves firmly stuck in the sand. Yeah,
Can
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, can I make a quick, like, scout view of the area surrounding us just to make sure this isn't a trap?
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead and give me a perception check, please.
If you suggest that to me, I can also send Quoth like up to get a good overview around us.
Yeah, I feel like I would.
Okay, up goes Quoth.
Okay,
Same-
so
same suggestion.
perception from Koth as well, please.
Okay, perception.
Man, roll 20 doesn't like me anymore.
No kidding. So Willem, you don't notice anything in the nearby vicinity that gives you any cause for concern. And looking at the sand around, it does seem like you've just hit a soft patch. Like I said, it looks as though you've sort of gone off the trail a little bit, and the sand is just a little softer there, and it was just an unlucky happenstance.
So,
Quoth from up above, she notices some. Is it a she or he? Sorry. Or an
He.
it, or them.
He.
A he. Okay.
Yeah.
So Quoth, he notices that way off in the distance, there's some signs of movement, but nothing nearby that's giving Quoth any cause for concern.
Okay.
and I just
I relay that to
apologize.
the party.
Sorry. Yeah, I just sorry about that. Sometimes this happens.
Well, that's all well and good, but how are we gonna pull it out? Can you get the camel to give it a good heave ho?
Yes, we can try. Do we have anything to put under the wheel?
You had us bring some wood, I think. We could try that, perhaps.
So yeah, I would grab some pieces of wood and kind of wedge it in front of the wheel, and then give the camels a good watch and
Yeah.
push.
I'll
the...
assist with mate to get things in place.
It might help if everyone gets out and helps push as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are gonna do a strength check on the goblin's part, and on the camel's part.
Goblins.
What? Who said goblin?
I knew it.
There were goblins?
That's when the DM messes up and gives us what they really are.
Oh, I've done that before in a session. I was so angry with myself.
Yeah, I've done it too.
I set it up to have a creature that they were investigating, and I made like little subtle hints as to what it was, and then it appeared, not realizing that I'd told them straight up what it was by accident about 10 minutes before. I just slipped the name and not noticed.
Oh
And I'm
no!
like, and it's an owl bear. And like, oh yeah, you told us that's what it was 5 minutes ago. Fuck!
Oh.
So
man,
angry.
that's hilarious. Okay, so the camel. I'm gonna give the camel advantage. So here we go. At
Yay.
21.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh.
So yeah, you give the reins a good, and with the wood underneath and everyone pushing, it's pretty easy for the camel to pull out of that little pit, and you don't lose a whole lot of time. You only lose maybe half an hour, which isn't so bad. So yeah, that goes remarkably smoothly, all things considered. And the rest of your afternoon passes without event, and you continue traveling on into the early part of the night. Basically, you travel until it gets fully dark, at which point it's probably a bit dangerous to continue traveling, and so you make a camp for the night. And this is where the desert changes its mind as to what it thinks the weather should be, and you find yourselves, starting to sort of put some of those layers that you took off earlier in the day back on. Willem, your armor's looking pretty good right now as the day's starting to cool down, and it's starting to get quite cold.
I'll start a
Yeah.
fire.
I would definitely put that on.
Okay, so Willem starts gearing himself back up, and Adriel starts a fire. Now it's probably it's probably a dung fire, to be honest, in the desert. There's probably not a whole lot of
Oh yeah.
wood out here. Whatever you need to use, right? So the fire doesn't smell great, but it's I mean, I imagine it's dried, so it's not awful. But it is warm, and it sort of helps. It does create light and smoke that can be seen from a fair distance. So do keep that in mind. And you guys have your first sort of dinner on the road, cooked over a dung fire. And so for those of you used to this kind of travel, that might not be something you bat an eyelid at, but certainly Ain and Odin are they seem less than thrilled at the prospect of cooking their dinner over a fire. In fact, Ain absolutely refuses to eat anything, and ends up eating his rations cold. He's got no interest. And Odin, I think she's probably going to do the same thing. They kind of they moan and they groan about it, but they are absolutely not going to eat something cooked over the road. On the other hand, Sinker, the goblin, he's got a little slingshot with him, and he actually manages to take out a small, like, desert vole kind of creature, and puts it on a spit and roasts it on the fire, and has a little meal out of that.
I think Lunara, when she sees the slingshot and sees that he's using it for hunting, she'll kind of talk to him and like obviously introduce herself properly, but point out Quoth and say, "You don't shoot at this. This my bird."
He says, "Oh no, I would never. I would never shoot at a familiar. I understand. I'm."
Good. Thank you.
Yes, that's no.
Because hellfire often offends.
Yeah. Duly noted. Duly noted. No. I've traveled with many a person with pets and familiars, and I hunt to eat and to sort of save on rations, but that's it. Nothing to worry about from my end.
As long as we're on the same page there.
And he gives you kind of like a shady little grin. And actually, on the note of Sincor, he comes up to you at one point in the evening, Willem, and says, I don't think we ever properly introduced myself. My name's Sincor, and he speaks to you in Thieves' Cant.
Oh. Well, pleasure to meet you, as I reply in Thieves' Cant.
Okay. He doesn't really say much more. He sort of has like a general chit-chatty type conversation, just like pleasantries, but slipping in that Thieves' Cant to sort of, and you get the idea he's just kind of like touching base with you and kind of letting you know, like,
Well, yeah, and obviously
hey,
tell
I know
him
what's
my
going
name
on.
and everything,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And so,
And I
yeah,
will
he.
keep that in mind.
Sorry, yeah, okay. Yeah, he sort of like he heads on back and goes back. Oh, but I think my dinner's just about ready. Nice chatting with you, and heads on back to his meal. Um, Anything anyone wants to declare that they do or say, or any interactions you want to have amongst yourselves as a group before we move on?
Not really.
What's the weather doing? Like, is it clear? So we got like a moonlit night, or
Yeah, it's quite clear. There
Mhm.
is a moon. It's sort of like a half moon at this point, so it's you've got a decent amount of vision around. Um,
Okay.
just
Okay.
just
I think
cold.
yeah. I think Quoth I'd send Quoth up again to just keep an eye out, just keep him within 100 of me, just to just to make sure nothing sneaks up on us.
Okay. Sorry, my voice went there. Quoth notices, and then I think we'll use the passive for this, and it's more than enough.
Mhm.
Quoth sees off in the distance there is a small fire.
Okay.
Seems well. It's hard to tell from the because of the distance. It's hard to judge, but it seems
Mhm.
quite small. There's very little smoke coming off of it, but it is. He can sort of see this pinprick of light off in the distance.
Okay.
Probably close enough that it's somewhere you would be tomorrow,
Okay.
but not so
How?
close that it's somewhere you have to worry about tonight.
Right. So it's probably more than 5 miles, or
Yes.
okay. Okay. If it was within 5 miles, I could send Quoth off to go and have a look, but no, that's
No,
fine.
I think it would be. I think it would be beyond that,
Okay. Cool.
because
Okay,
yeah.
I'll just let the others know that like there's some firelight off in the distance. Nothing close, nothing to worry about. And I'll keep Quoth on guard. He can wake me up if anything goes awry. So
Okay. And with that, you guys can take a long rest. I think only Adriel lost a couple of hit points there.
I patch myself up.
Congrats, you guys have survived your first night in the desert.
yay!
Yay! So you get up very, very early, and prepare to move on. For the purposes of this travel, I don't know if you're actually getting like your full 8 hour. Well, probably. But it's pretty much like you have 8 hours rest because you get that long break in the afternoon as well. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. You wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go. There's still a little bit of a vibe of excitement. This is still really new. This is your first morning on the road. Yeah, things go a little bit more smoothly. People are starting to fall into the rhythms of travel a little bit more. Adriel, you're able to get the group kind of up and moving a little bit quicker this morning as you prepare to head off. I'm going to assume, unless you guys tell me otherwise, that our arrangements, the way that you guys are traveling, and the actions that you're taking are going to be the same as the day before. So Lunara's got Quoth sort of flying around and is periodically looking
Yeah.
through Quoth's eyes.
Yeah.
Adriel is keeping an eye out on
Yeah.
the terrain nearby.
Yeah.
And we've got Willem on his camel.
Yeah. I don't think actually reading how Quoth actually works. I don't think she'd even need to periodically look through his eyes. He can just like
He can let her
communicate to
know.
her if he sees something, and then she can go and have a look through his eyes. So
Okay,
she will
cool.
only check in on him if he goes, "Hey, look at this."
Okay, awesome. Let's get another survival check, please, from Adriel.
Boy.
Oh, here
Oh
we
boy.
go.
What?
Oh boy.
Oh dear.
Man's
Hey,
lost.
I can't control the terrain.
Adriel, here's what happens. The caravan route there's been some kind of sandstorm recently. This is the season for sandstorms, and it seems as though you have been sort of pushed off track of the regular caravan route. and you can't quite find that again. So as you are traveling, you find that the going is even harder. You're moving even slower, because there's no like packed sand here. It's very loose. We've sort of gone from, when you're on a beach and there's that bit of sand that's like wet and you can walk along it a little bit easier, and then there's like the sand that's really hard to walk in that's like further up that's dry.
Hmm.
It's that kind of difference where you were in an area where the sand was a little bit more packed, and now you're in an area where the sand is very loose, and it is making the going extremely slow. Worse yet is you're trying to get back to it, and so you're not even going the direction you want to go. You're just trying to get back to the track at this point. So you're losing a lot of time, and your morning goes pretty slowly. To top that off, that fire that you saw last night, or that Quoth saw last night,
Mm.
you're starting to head into that region, that distance where if that is a threat, then it's something that you need to start worrying about.
Okay. I think I'd get Quoth to kind of keep an eye in that direction as we're going, just to see if anything's moving towards us, see if there's anything we have to worry about.
Okay. I'm gonna need us to.
I took off my armor before we headed out,
Okay.
just so you know.
Cool. Thank you for letting me know. That is important. Can I get a survival check from Quoth to see if Quoth can figure out what direction that was? You guys are pretty turned around.
Okay. That's a wisdom check.
Wisdom
Surviving
check,
with
yes.
Wisdom. Okay. Oh boy. No.
Oh my.
It was a big sandstorm. I mean,
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so Quoth is pretty turned around. He flies in the direction that Quoth believes the fire to have been in last night, and doesn't see anything. When he returns, you kind of get the whole didn't see anything, didn't see any remains of a fire though either.
Okay. I think I would
And,
just keep him up and keeping an eye out for anything coming towards
Up
us.
and looking around. Okay.
Yeah. Early
So-
warning is his big advantage for us at the moment.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anyone else have anything they want to do at this point?
I'm actually, because in my mind, I know I'm lost, but does anybody else realize it? I don't know. So
That's a good question. Do you tell the party that you're off?
I would
track?
say, yeah, I would tell them. I would say there must have been a sandstorm here recently. I'm sorry, but I cannot find the track.
Well, we'll just have to continue going in the direction that we need to go, and I mean, we're gonna have to go off the track at some point anyway, right? When we're heading off towards the Lost City, so I'm sure it'll be fine. You know what direction it is, right?
I'm sure it was meant to be.
I'll pull up beside and just go, yeah, it's just good practice for later, right? Insight check.
Yeah.
Insight check.
Then I would continue to try to get back on track.
Okay. Willem, I think you probably are seeing with that insight check, you're probably recognizing that maybe Adriel is a little bit more lost than has been let on. That you might be really turned around. Does that
Well-
affect anything that you do?
Nope, but I'll just keep that in mind. And I've been here a week. I don't know what I'm doing.
Fair. Okay, so you continue sort of walking around the for the morning, just trying to get back on track, trying to find a way of orienting yourself, finding a way of getting yourself back onto the track. I would say with your experience, you probably know like at least which way is north, kind of idea. But you've got no idea where you are, so you don't know which direction to go to get back to the track.
Okay.
So let's have a survival check from you again, please, Adriel, as we move into the afternoon.
17.
Yay, that's more like it.
Nice.
Phew.
I also need a perception check from Omen. Sorry, Omen. The bird.
The bird quote.
Quote.
Perception.
Okay. So the good news is, in the afternoon after the break, you sort of use the break to kind of reorient yourself. You figure out how long you've been traveling, how fast you've been traveling. You look at the direction of the sun, and you're kind of able to reorient yourself and approximate where you think you are. And using that knowledge, you're able to guide the party back to the track. And so you've probably lost a good chunk of the day in your travel, but you're back on course. You're back where you need to be, and you're now headed in the correct direction. Unfortunately, probably very late afternoon, sort of heading on into the evening, just as you're getting to the point where the sun is starting to set. There is a group of arrows that come whizzing out at you as you are attacked.
And I would have moved back to the rear of the caravan.
Yeah, sorry, I had you guys the other way, and then I moved everything, and you're not on the map properly here. Hang on.
Oh wow,
Go.
that token is gorgeous. Thank you.
You are welcome. I haven't made like really nice ones yet, but I'll kind of, that's the general look I'm going to go for this particular campaign. Alrighty, so, oh my god, I didn't put the battle music in.
Could we shrink Quoth because he's a tiny beast?
We will.
Okay.
When I put him in, I don't have a way to do it in my quick token maker. I have to do it in my one that takes a little bit more time. So I will have that set up for next session where he'll be.
Okay. I mean, we can just like
appropriately
descale him on Roll20 at least temporarily.
I can do that.
I think if you hold down
fine.
Alt, it stops
there we
snapping
go.
to the thingy. There we go. Yeah, because then he can be on my
I
shoulder.
Don't know if that will. Did that change the size for you when you moved?
Yes,
him?
it did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem with. Oh no, it stayed
Oh,
small. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, it
Perfect.
stayed small. Yeah.
And you've got access to his sheet. Willem, you need access to the camel. Oh, while I'm doing this, by the way, everyone go in and turn your music down fairly low if you have music settings on Roll20, because I am going to play some battle music and it will blast your ears out.
How do I
not
do
want
that?
to- Oh, master music volume level. So go onto the settings cog on the top right, and then audio
Oh,
video,
okay, got it. Thanks.
master music volume. No problem.
Thank you for the heads up.
You are
Yeah,
welcome.
that was a good shout.
I have caused pain to too many players to not to remember that. Okay, so there is a camel just over top of your character sheet there, Willem, or you can shift double click it to bring shift double click the token to bring it up. And I need to adjust my own music here.
One of my favorite sound things I did, by the way, you know the health auras add-on we used to use.
Mm-hmm.
With that one, you can set a sound file to play when a creature dies.
Yes, you can.
So I set the Wilhelm scream to play when creatures
had
die.
that.
Yeah, it's so fucking fun.
I had that in the campaign, and I ended up
Yeah.
turning it off because it drove us all crazy after a while. But man, did we have fun with it for like the first little while. Okay, here we go. Battle music is engaged. This is going to bring back so many memories for you guys. Because I still use the same music. Nothing has changed.
Two Steps from Hell, good choice.
Alrighty, so I don't have all of the API scripts in here yet, so we are going to we're going without our auras and we're going without our tracker jacker today, but we will have that all set up for next session.
Initiative. It does say to roll initiative separately for the bird, but I feel like it's better if I just use it on my turn, because
Sure.
I don't want 2 turns on the tracker. Thank you.
No worries. Do it. I don't mind either way. Whatever you feel works best is fine by me.
Thank you.
Why is
Oh,
that
come
not-
on, man. No, I'm talking about Willem. Like,
Jeez,
Yeah.
you gotta go back to Foundry. Oh my god.
Okay, I've got all three in. And here, okay. All right, so I'm so not used to doing this like the old-fashioned manual way. Okay, so the goblins get a surprise round. These are dust goblins. Yes, that's what I was reading the goblin character sheet when I said camel. I accidentally opened it.
Knew it. 3x.
These creatures leap up at you. You will notice I don't have the other the NPCs on the map. I'm just doing this for the sake of not having a shit ton of tokens that get in the way.
Yeah.
They are here. They are not actively participating in the battle that you guys. So basically, they're fighting their own goblins. You guys are fighting your own
Yeah.
goblins.
Sure. That makes
So
sense.
yeah,
Sounds
that's
good,
that's
sounds good.
happening.
Everyone has to fight their own goblins.
Yeah, exactly. Surprise round from the goblins, and they leap out from hiding. They are lying on the rocks, and they are sort of, there's like a little bit of elevated terrain here as you guys are getting back, and they are sort of covered by these sort of sand-colored blankets, and they leap up from hiding. It is quite scary, and they have a neat little feature. So I need everyone to make me a Wisdom saving throw, or you will be frightened until the end of the. Oh no, it's just when a dust goblin attacks a creature. So whoever I attack is going to have to make me the Wisdom
Alright.
save.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
Right.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think now Lunara and Wei are inside the wagon.
Yeah. I'll move.
So,
there we go.
they cannot be attacked because they cannot be seen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in trouble.
So, Willem, this first arrow comes flying out at you. And actually, let me check the range on this. So yeah, this is a regular attack. 14 to hit.
That hits because well, it would hit either way.
7 points of piercing damage.
Not looking good, boys.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm about to die.
Level
die.
1. And I need you to make me that wisdom saving throw, please. Okay,
Okay.
you are frightened. So I will put a little.
So, quick question: how much healing did we bring?
Oh.
I don't think we have any.
Okay, me being the careful one, I bought 6 potions of healing with the 500 gold bounty we got.
Good
Oh, nice.
thinking.
Good thinking.
I was gonna buy more, but I'll probably be stretching it by then.
This one.
Do I have any cover since I'm partially under the thing?
Yeah, you know what? I'll give you half cover. I will add a +2 to your AC because you are partially inside the wagon.
But yes, let me introduce my brother, Billum.
Yeah.
Actually, this one's gonna go for the camel because then you can't outrun him. So these are smart little creatures, and they know what to hit. So 16 will hit the camel's
Yes,
AC.
yes.
Oh
And
boy.
the camel is going to take 7 points of piercing damage. And then my last goblin over here is.
The camel has more hit points than I do.
Why
Level
have they
one.
not brought the camels to defend this?
You know what? Oh, the camel's been hit. Willem, I need you to make me a animal handling check. That camel's
yeah.
been hurt. I'm also gonna reduce its HP by 7. And we're gonna see if you can keep this thing calm or if it's gonna freak out. Nice. Willem, you managed to sort of keep the creature calm. It's injured, but it's not a deadly wound, and you're able to sort of keep it settled and keep yourself on the camel's back. Well done. Are we gonna hit? I think I'm gonna go for this camel too, because then y'all are just sitting ducks. So my other dust goblin here is gonna go for the camel.
Oof.
Oh no.
I'll see you guys next campaign.
For 9 piercing on the camel up here. Alrighty.
That same camel he's going for, or the other one?
He's gone for the one in front of the caravan
Alright, the one
here.
in front. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then I can stop you guys and just shoot at you from my vantage point.
Mhm.
Adriel, you are the first to react when these goblins leap out and arrows start to fly. What
Oh
do you do?
boy. So I guess I would see them on the ridges. I'm going to cast. I'm just gonna go all out and cast a chromatic orb at the one over here. Wait,
Okay.
how does? Let me see. Let me just double check that spell real quick. Yep, 90 feet. Okay. So yeah, my eyes would just start to like little lightning flickers out of my eyes as I shoot a lightning ball at that one.
Awesome.
Oh God!
Oh!
It just whizzes
Guys, you have
by.
to stop rolling like this. I'm gonna kill you.
Um,
It has been nice playing with you guys.
Yeah. Session 1 TPK.
and then I'm gonna.
Um,
Okay.
he like drops to the ground as you shoot the chromatic orb, and it just sort of like whizzes over his head, and then he leaps back up, crossbow back at the ready.
And then I'm gonna jumping back and be like,
Okay.
"We're under attack by goblins. Are they sand
Oh, are we?
goblins? You said
They
sand
are dust
goblins.
goblins.
Oh, dust goblins. We're under attack by dust goblins. And I'll take cover in
Yep.
the back.
Willem's just gonna go, yeah, I know.
And that will end my turn, which I don't remember how to end it.
I don't have
don't
a
have a
turn
thing.
timer
Okay,
going,
okay.
so yeah. I'm putting a picture, by the way, of what these guys look like in chat because they're pretty phenomenal.
Oh
I love
god.
the artwork.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Mm.
Pretty fierce looking. Adriel, you would be familiar with these guys. They also are nomadic by nature and live in the desert. And I imagine that your tribe and they have had many an interaction over the years. They're known to be particularly vicious, and they often waylay caravans in hopes of getting food and water from the dead bodies of those that they kill.
I'll
okay, so
relate that to the rest of them. Like they're vicious.
Okay, so that brings that's this guy's here's turn. He's gonna take another shot at the camel. You guys are so screwed if your camels die. Uh-oh.
Aren't we just?
6 points of piercing to the camel, and this is to Willem's camel.
He's got 1 hit point. I think.
2. I'm tracking it here. He's so 8 minus 6. He has 2 hit points left.
Oh boy.
Yeah. This is going well.
And this is the one on top of the rock over here. So he's going to take a shot at the camel driving the wagon. 14, I believe, hits their AC. Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Four
I think they
piercing.
I'm glad
AC
it's been
9.
Yeah, they do. So 2 hit points to the camel in front as
Oh,
well.
boy.
Willem, I need you to make me an animal handling check.
Oh, balls. Nope, not good.
Okay, so you are knocked off your camel. The good news is you're kind of behind this rock. As it
put you in
freaks
some
out
cover.
and it's gonna run.
Probably for the best, actually.
That's what-
It's gonna
that's-
run straight forward.
Oh,
Oh.
that's
Oh
not
wait,
good.
no, sorry. One is north. It actually runs
Yeah.
up off the map this way.
Okay, okay.
There is no one now holding the reins of the camel that was just
I just thought
hit.
about that. I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, good. We're going on an adventure.
So it is also gonna run.
Hey, that's a good thing.
And it actually starts to kind of follow its camel buddy over this way. We're running out of map here, but you guys are how far away can they move? They've got a pretty decent movement speed, I think. Although I'm gonna cut it in half because it's pulling a wagon. 50 feet. So you've gone 50 feet because it's gonna take a dash. You've gone 50 feet away, sort of in this direction.
Okay.
Way.
Oh boy. Oh, so how far away from the goblins now?
An additional 50 feet from where you are.
Let's pull the ruler.
So yeah.
Oh god.
Be like 100
Like
feet away
100
from
feet?
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where the fun starts.
Fun.
The fun.
The fun.
Oh my.
Oh
God.
boy. What are we doing?
It's a disadvantage anyways because I'm out of range. Or out of optimal range.
You're also in the wagon.
Yeah, it's moving all over. It's bumping
It's
and
bouncing everywhere, and you've got to like you're trying to like shoot through the front part that you can see. Yeah, and
putting off for my movement, I'm going to hop off and try to make my way to Willem.
okay.
I have 40 feet of movement, so I should be able to get almost there.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually say that you can kind of get up to like there-ish. Because the camel had to move some distance to get to the rock and then continue on. So I think your 40 feet should get you back.
Or a sort of baseball slide, or
Awesome.
or a soccer slide, a football slide, since we have a bread here.
Thank you. Football slide. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes,
That right.
like to the rock, perch up against it, take cover, and
Okay.
you know. Go from
I'm
there.
gonna give you total cover if you're flattened behind that rock.
Yeah, I'm sitting behind it.
Lunara.
Okay, Lenara's going to yell to Adriel, can you try and get the camel under control? I'll go back and help with the fight, I guess. And then jump off of the thing and try and use her move to get as close to the rock as she can.
Okay. So you're gonna take
I
a
doubt
dash.
she can get away. No, just a move. Just a
Just
move
a
action.
Okay.
So
and
she's
your
probably
speed's
like
30?
5 feet off the screen. Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine she's like 5 foot off this kind of way.
Sounds reasonable.
Okay, let's have a look at the range of a certain spell. So, cool. So she is going to focus on this little goblin here.
Okay.
Use a bonus action to cast Hex.
Cool.
I've heard this song a long time.
Is it bringing
and
back memories?
then,
Oh yeah.
And then, like, I started blasting.
Okay.
She's going to Eldritch Blast.
The,
our friend.
The warlock special.
Yeah, yeah. That is
Thank
a 21 to hit.
Thank you. Thank
For
Nice.
you.
9 points. 9 points of damage. 7 force to necrotic.
You obliterate it. How do you kill it?
I think there's like a swirl of like shadow around it, and then it just comes apart in pieces.
Awesome.
Nice.
And do you have 2 Eldritch Blasts or 1 at this level?
Just one.
Just 1. Okay.
If we're level 1, then yeah, it's just. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's just one. I think it goes
always-
up as if we get bonus shots.
Yeah, it goes up. I just can never remember if you start with 1 or 2.
Eldritch
Um,
Blast. 2 beams at 5th. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so your Eldritch Blast just like slams into this creature, and it drops and you
Yeah.
hear
It's like a beam of black smoky flame ish, and then it just kind of pops apart.
Cool.
Okay, that's her turn. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that brings us to
The dead
Oh.
one.
the dead one. It be dead.
Yeah.
So it be gone. Willem.
All right, I would like to rage. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, you're no longer frightened, by the way.
How high is it?
Just like 10 feet up. It's not super high.
Okay. Well, I have sharpshooter anyways, so it shouldn't matter for a short bow.
Nope, absolutely will not.
Ugh, crap! It's been so long since I've used Roll20.
I know you guys are all Foundry now, eh?
I'm going to take a shot at this one.
Okay.
I assume it has cover of some point.
Nope. You're far enough away that I don't think 10 feet is going to make any difference in terms of being able to see it. 17 is absolutely a hit.
Oh, how do I do damage?
Click on
Click
the
the-
word
click
short
the
bow
name.
in the chat. There
Yeah.
you go. Hey, how do you kill this one?
Just right through the eye.
Awesome. Yeah, your arrow
Nice.
flies much truer than theirs did. And whereas theirs sort of scraped you and hit you hard, yours just goes right through his eye and he just like falls over backwards and lies prone on the ground.
Awesome. And then I'm going to use my movement to move here.
Okay. Getting behind that rock, making yourself safe. Good choice.
Just sort of limp over and.
Adriel, you're in the back of a wagon that is careening away with a runaway camel.
So is getting the camel, that would be my action, I assume, right? To-
Your action would be to get
Yeah.
the camel under control, yeah.
So I would do that. I would grab the reins and try to make him stop.
Okay, animal handling check, please.
Okay. 9.
Oh,
Oh.
boy.
You know what? The camel rolled really poorly. That is enough. Oh,
Oh,
actually,
nice.
let's check his stats.
yay.
Yep, that's enough. You are he's freaked out. But you know he's also used to knowing that people make things safe. And you're far enough away at this point where you know the goblins are sort of out of his sight range because he's running the other direction. And so he is able to you're able to sort of like calm him and soothe him. He's still really freaked out, but he's no longer running. So you've managed to get him to stop. He's just standing there kind of like shaking. But the good news is you have saved the wagon, you saved this camel. The other camel is still running, by the way. So that's gonna be interesting. Anything else, Adriel? Do you want to take any movement or any? I don't know if you have any bonus actions.
No, I don't really can't do any bonus actions, so that'll be it for me.
Okay. That brings us back to Gobos, and that's a dead one.
Yeah.
I got one left alive. What is he gonna do? I think he's gonna scream something in Goblin. Does anyone speak Goblin?
No.
Nope.
I don't think I do.
No, nope, I could take.
You guys are all sort of out of his range. Lunara, you're the only one he can really see at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna take a shot at you with disadvantage.
Good.
A 7.
Ah, no.
He sort of he's got his crossbow and he shoots as he starts to run. So he's and it just sort of it goes wide. You get the idea that it's like suppressing fire than anything else.
Yeah.
And he starts to take off this way. Are you going to are you guys gonna go after him, or actually let's keep this going because we have a runaway camel. Way, you are behind the rock. You see Willem's camel is just continuing to run. You've got a goblin that's running in the pretty much almost opposite direction, and you can see that Adriel has managed to stop the cart. What would you like to do?
Do I have a line of sight at the moment?
You do, yes.
I do. Better move up. Oh, how do I do this again? Roll 20. Q, was it?
Q,
Yes.
yeah.
Hold on.
It's all coming back to you slowly.
Let's see. Does that show the arrow?
It sure
Yep,
does.
we did.
All right. Short bow. We'll finish him off.
Okay.
Try to. Hey, there we go.
Yay, there we go.
Hey.
For 5 damage. Woo!
Guess how
That's
much damage you needed to kill him? If you guessed
5?
5, you
6.
were right.
Oh.
Yay.
He
Nice.
is. How do you kill him?
I mean, it's straight through the back, you know?
Awesome. Yeah, he's running. He's shot his one arrow and he's running. He's frantically trying to like reload as he runs, trying to like do whatever he needs to do. And you just hit him in the back, and he just sort of flies forward, arms akimbo, and lands face plants face first in the sand. And that takes us into combat. What the hell is this noise that is playing? Jungle ruins.
Oh.
That is not supposed to be.
We're climbing
in the
here.
playlist.
Climate.
Suddenly jungle.
I don't know how that got in there. Just delete that one. It's a little delete item. So yeah, that takes us out of combat, and oh shoot, I probably shouldn't have done that because you still have a runaway camel. Do you guys pursue the other camel? How are you gonna
I
handle
think
that?
we have to, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got a speed of 50.
Yeah. I mean, eventually it will kind of slow down anyway. But I mean, I can use Quoth to kind of try and keep pace with it.
Mm.
Try and like keep an eye on it, and then we can chase it down.
Can I make an animal handling
don't-
check to like I named it Bruce? Sure.
Sorry, I need to go back.
Okay.
Something
Yeah,
just
no problem.
crashed out.
Can I call it?
You're gonna try and call it back to you? Yeah, go ahead and give me an animal handling check. I'm gonna give you disadvantage because he's a
It's
little
been a
freaked out,
day.
and it's
Yeah.
only been a day. You having trouble finding it? There we go. Hey.
So 16.
Good shit.
Yeah, that's a good roll. I'm gonna say that the camel stops. Hearing your voice. It's not coming towards you, but it stops, and sort of turns back in your direction. You can see that it's trembling. There's some blood on it, but it seems to be handling things okay, and you're able to sort of catch up to it as a group. And Willem, you've kind of got it to calm down. You grab its reins and you're able to bring it back. So well done. You saved both the camels. That's awesome. And the wagon is still fairly intact. I did a little roll for it, and it didn't take too much damage as it was being pulled by the camels. So you're pretty good there. You didn't lose any wheels or anything like that. Yeah, first combat success.
Barely.
It's level 1, right? Is there anything you guys want to do in the aftermath of this battle?
I think Lenara would like to use Mage Hand to like drag the goblins down from here, and then just see if they have anything useful on them.
Sure, absolutely. You drag the bodies down and over so that you can take a look at them. And what do they have on them? So they each have a goblin-sized short sword and a goblin-sized light crossbow. They also have some bolts to go with the crossbow. That are, again, everything's goblin-sized. Goblins are small creatures, so it's a little bit shorter, but not impossible to. A little bit smaller, pardon me, but not impossible for you guys to use.
So like a hand crossbow?
It's a light crossbow, so it's a little bit bigger. Oh, I guess actually, yeah, that would kind of make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, so we'll call them hand crossbows.
I will grab one of those and the bolts.
Okay.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you'll grab all the bolts. Happy for you to do that if that's going to be useful for you. I probably want to take off their cloaks as well. Their little like sandy cloaks, just to have a look at. They're probably grotty as hell.
They are.
But-
They're pretty gross, but yeah, as you suspect, they're sort of tie into the environment very well. They would be again, they're goblin size, so they're
Yeah,
a little bit
we can
small. You probably
probably,
have to like curl up, or
Yeah,
sew
or
them
we can
together.
like sew two of them together to make a.
yeah, absolutely.
I think she might have a go at doing that, or see if she can find someone with a decent sewing ability to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a hand stitch to sew together. I don't think it would be a big deal for you to do yourself. So you can absolutely give
Okay.
yourself a camouflage cloak. It'll
Okay.
give you advantage on stealth, like when you're trying to hide. It'll
Sure.
give you advantage if you're covering yourself under it.
I think I offer it out to the group because like maybe Willem might want that, or
Yeah, like how do they smell?
Really bad.
Okay.
I mean,
oh
they're
yeah, we'll maybe try and find some water and
Yeah,
wash the
well,
fuck out of
maybe
it,
try and
or like
clean
sandblast it or
them.
something.
Yeah, sandblast it, and if possible, patch up the camels.
Yeah, you can do medicine checks to try and sort of help things along there.
Yeah, Wei would have been doing that, tending to the camels.
Awesome. Okay, let's get a medicine check from Wei then, please.
All right,
Nice.
17.
Yeah, you're able to sort of pull the bolts. There's in one of the camels, one of the bolts has sort of stuck into its shoulder, and you're able to get that bolt out to allow the wound to heal. The other camel, it looks like it's just taken a really big scrape along the side, and you sort of bandage it up as best you can, make sure that it's not infected. Um,
I have an
and you're
herbalism kit if
oh cool.
I mean,
Yeah,
to help
you I
roleplay, helping like ointments and whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've probably got some salves and stuff that you can put on that to help things heal up, and you anticipate that by tomorrow they won't be like fully healed, but they'll be
They won't be
fully,
gangrene.
yeah, they'll be much recovered tomorrow, as in they'll have their hit points back. Anything else anyone wants to do? Oh, you were gonna search through the goblins. So you found the cloaks, you found the short swords, and the crossbows. The other
Mhm.
thing that you find is all three of the goblins have a little bit of tobacco leaf on them. It is worth about 10 gold pieces total.
Okay,
So you can write down in the. I'll give you a party loot handout.
thank you. Yeah, I've made a note of it on my sheet for the moment, and then I'll transfer it.
Cool. I will. I'll make that handout for you guys, and then you can edit it to your heart's content.
Who took the hand crossbow?
I took one of them.
Okay, goes to Adriel.
So
Cool.
I think there's probably 2 more. How many bolts were there?
That would be, they would have 20 each, and I think they all used 2.
Okay.
So 20 take away 6. No, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It'd
yeah.
be
So
18 a quiver.
Thank you.
18 a quiver, that's 72 arrows, I believe.
54?
18 times 3 is 54. Yeah.
Well, was it 4? Oh, 3. I thought it was 4.
No, there's 3 of them. Yeah. Okay, and so you guys see that I guess the one other thing I want to talk about before we end game, I realize we're running a little bit over, I apologize, is your caravan people. So the Stogak is pretty much useless in terms of combat. He was hiding inside of the wagon the whole time. Didn't really do much. Didn't do anything to help. Didn't even try and like get the camel and sort of calm things down. He is just full on shaking. He doesn't seem to be the kind who is capable of handling combat well.
Strogak, you're safe.
I wasn't expecting something like that. I mean, I knew there would be dangers, but I've never been in a fight before. Oh, that was awful. Oh, I'm so glad you guys were here.
You must have faith that everything will be okay.
I think just the realities of the traveling hit me. I'm so used to reading about battles. I've never actually been a part of one. That was okay. All right, I'll pull myself together.
I just pat him on the shoulder.
He's still sort of trembling a little bit as you pat him, but he seems to be like at least being able to sort of tone it down a little bit. Sincor, the gnome, actually has taken out a goblin of his own. You guys would have seen him. He leapt off his camel when the combat happened and sort of snuck around in behind one of the goblins that was focused on you guys and just came in with a back to the blade and killed the goblin before it even knew he was there.
damn.
Ain and Odin, on the other hand, turned and ran. The arrows flew. They turned their camels around and they took off. And they're in the distance. And when they saw you guys searching for the other camel, they have sort of returned and are sort of expressing, oh, we're so glad you survived. That was terrifying. I don't understand why you guys didn't run. I can't believe you fought them. That was awful. And that kind of sentiment. And I think that this is where we will end our game. Good first session, guys. Some
Yay.
concerning rolls, but
We
some good rolls as
survived.
well.
I
Everyone's
lived.
still alive. And you are 2 days into the desert with several more to go. So we will pick up next time with you guys continuing your travels in the desert, heading towards the Lost City. Hopefully you find it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and before we
Yeah.
go, I'm just holding the wound, and then I'm just gonna wave at them with the blood on my hand.
They both look like they're about to faint when they see the amount of blood that is on you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Definitely make sure we get you guys patched up as well.
Actually, at this point, this was sort of like at the end of the evening. You can go ahead and long rest your characters. Nothing is going to happen overnight. And we'll pick up in the morning of day 3 when we meet back.
Okay.
All right, so I will see you all next week. I am not going to be available on the 28th. Work is sending me on a training course, and I can't get a flight out on Friday night, so I have to come back on Saturday morning. So I won't be home before our game time. So we will be skipping the 28th, and then we'll be back on the 4th again, just so you guys are aware
Okay.
that that's
Okay.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
That
Fair enough.
sounds good to me.
okay. Great playing with you again, guys. I'm stupid excited for this campaign. So
Yeah,
this
me
is
too.
gonna be
Thanks for-
intense.
Yeah, it's
oh,
fun.
Yeah.
so excited, so excited. I have so much planned.
Awesome.
Anyway, I'll have all the game set up properly for next session as well, so we'll have all
Cool.
of our bells and whistles. So,
Awesome.
and I will try and send out private information to each of you as well over the week, so anticipate that.
Okay.
No worries though. Like, don't feel obligated to sort of send me back reams of stuff, or don't feel like you have to like panic about getting anything done. This is fun for all of us, so take your time and do things
Yeah.
as you have time to do them.
Awesome.
Right,
Thank you.
Yeah, my notes
Bye,
are
everyone.
on linked on the Lost Text channel. So if you guys want to have a read through what I noted, you can edit from there. So if you want to add anything to it, feel free,
All right.
That
Thanks.
and I'll
is
try and keep up with that as we play.
I really appreciate
Awesome.
that. Thank you very much.
No problem
You
at
gotta pin the link to the channel.
Yes, that's a good plan. I will do that. Pian. There you go.
Awesome.
It is
There we
now
go.
pinned.
Cool. Thank you.
No
All right.
problem.
Have
Right.
a great Saturday, everyone. I'll see you all next week.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
too.
sweet.
Bye
Yeah,
bye.
next week. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for the
Night.
session.
Thanks.
Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the game. I'll try to post the next session that we had on Friday. And then I'll try to do one early Saturday, and then we'll have our live game Saturday. So keep watching. Thanks, and have a good night, everybody. I'm off to bed.